That's right. It's time for Catching Up with Carley, presented by Meijer. Today, I'm joined by Vice President of Marketing for the Detroit Tigers, Ellen Zeringue. How's it going, Ellen?
Hey Carly, how are you?
Very good, very good. Okay, so first let's talk about you and what your job entails. What kind of responsibilities does your job hold? Like, what does your day to day look like?
Oh geez. So my day to day is going to change if it's a home game or it's an away game. It also changes in season, out of season, but primarily I oversee the marketing, promotions, special events, social, all the really fun stuff, right? So I like to think of myself as the person that helps to connect fans in a really fun way and in a meaningful way to Detroit Tigers baseball.
Love that. Well, you're doing a great job. And obviously, this is a season unlike any other. So, how are the Tigers keeping fans involved from a distance?
Well, first, I'd like to say that we have the best fans in baseball, and we want the best fans in baseball to remain safe. So we want everyone to continue to social distance, wear their masks, and know that, we really wish that we could all be together at the ballpark. But the longer we social distance and practice all those things like wearing our masks, the sooner we will be back together again. So one of the things that we worked on in the off season was our Detroit Roots campaign. And that was going to be our official marketing campaign for the 2020 season. Of course, the season didn't launch in April like we wanted it to. So we had some extra time to think about it. And so we started thinking about Detroit roots, rooting for each other. And we realized that as a community, that's really what we're doing. We're rooting for each other. We're rooting for our frontline heroes. We're rooting for just everybody who's been impacted by this horrible pandemic. And so we realized that this was a great opportunity from a virtual standpoint to encourage fans to root from home. So we came up with all kinds of cool things. We're getting ready to start selling a Detroit Roots from Home pack, where fans will get a T-shirt, a mug. They can also there's also a lanyard in there. All the cool things that you need so you can root for your Tigers at home. But what's most important is we want our fans to know that we're rooting for them and we're going to get through this together.
Love that. Okay, so one thing that I do want to talk about that I personally loved was the longest pitch. So, can you tell us how that was a good way of getting the fans involved?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So everybody knows that opening day in Detroit is like it's like a citywide, statewide holiday, right? It's the
Yeah.
biggest party and everybody loves it and everybody looks forward to it. So we were trying to figure out a way that we could make sure that people felt connected. So our friends at Comerica Bank came up with the idea for us to try to launch the longest virtual first pitch. And what was so cool about it, Carly, is that it connected fans from throughout the entire state of Michigan. So we had fans in Grand Rapids, we had fans in Birmingham, we had fans in Detroit, and then we had some special appearances by people like, Mayor Duggan and our Lieutenant Governor. And we even had some Red Wings in there. We had some folks from 97 won the ticket. So it was just so amazing and so cool. And then for the first pitch to start off with Alan Trammell and then to end with Ron Gardenhire inside the ballpark on opening day, you couldn't have asked for a better way to kick off the season.
I loved watching that. Head on over to the Tigers social media channels if you have not yet seen it, because it's great. And another one of the really sad parts of this 2020 baseball season is that fans can't be in the ballpark to experience some of their favorite special events and celebrations. And one of those annual traditions is Negro League's weekend. Is the team doing anything to recognize that virtually?
Oh, absolutely. So Negro Leagues Weekend is like one of our premier events that we host every year at the ballpark. And I think we're all brokenhearted that we can't be together. We can't bring back our former Negro Leagues players, but we do have some great events planned virtually. So here's a list of some of the things that fans can do. And I encourage everyone to stay tuned to tigers.com and all of our social platforms so that you can see some of these great events and you can take part in them. So always on the Friday of Negro Leagues weekend, we always have what's known as the passing of the bat ceremony. And that's a really meaningful ceremony where we have a youngster from Detroit who gets to actually receive a bat that has been passed down and signed from generations of African American ball players. And it's really, I mean, Carly, it's really very moving. So this year, we're able to do it virtually. And so we took some footage from past seasons, and then we've added at the end Warner Blakely Jr., who's a young man who was drafted by the Angels this year. He's a young African American ball player, and I'm telling you, you want to see this video because at the end of the video, Warner does this really heartfelt comments about how he's so honored to not only represent the city of Detroit but baseball, and how he's so honored to receive this bat. So that's going to come out on Friday, and then we also have, this is really cool, we have created some digital baseball cards of Negro League's players. Because, of course, when they were playing, they didn't have baseball cards. So we were able to, with our creative services department and another consultants, we were able to create these fabulous digital baseball cards that really pay tribute and tell the story of our Negro League's players. And then finally, amongst a bunch of other things, so again, remember to stay tuned to our social platforms, but finally, we also have what is really special is every Sunday of Negro League's weekend, we host the Willie Horton African American Legacy Award. And we were able this year to bring together several past honorees on a Zoom call. And it included Torrey Hunter, Craig Monroe, Lou Whitaker, Chet Lemon, and more. Gary Sheffield. And so they've all come together on this Zoom call, which we're going to release over the weekend. And it pays tribute to Mr. Horton and all of the amazing contributions that he's made to the community and to baseball. But it also talks about the role of African Americans in baseball. And I'm telling you, I've had a chance to get a sneak peek at it, and it's really riveting. And I encourage everyone to stay tuned to our social platforms and tigers.com so they can take a look at it for themselves.
Well, I know I'll be watching it. So you guys, like she said, make sure you stay tuned to the Tigers' social media platforms to watch that. And Ellen, the Tigers have had a really involved history of hosting events to recognize the Negro Leagues and diversity and inclusion just in general. What do opportunities like this mean to the organization?
Well, I'm going to make it personal. So as an African American woman in baseball, I know that I would not be the vice president of marketing were it not for many pioneers who went before me. So for me, this is extremely important because it continues to tell the story of people who continue to play the game even if they weren't accepted. And so this is really a meaningful moment, really meaningful story at this particular moment in our country. And so this is the Detroit Tigers way of saying that we really understand the importance of the Negro Leagues. And most importantly, we understand the importance of continuing this tradition so that we can educate younger generations and they can understand that baseball is an amazing game. It brings people together and it unites people.
Okay, so with that answer, let me ask you this. How important do you think it is to have diversity in baseball and not just recognize it, but celebrate it too?
Oh, it's really, really important. We always want to reflect our community, the composition and demographics of our community. But it's important because baseball is a sport for everyone. So what's great about baseball is we have African American players, but we also have players from Venezuela. We have players from Japan. So it really is like this great melting pot. And so we are the perfect place to start celebrating and continue to celebrate diversity and to understand that many different voices make a huge impact. And when all those voices are melted together, we get a wonderful game, and that game is baseball.
That we do. I love it. Okay, so what else can fans look forward to this season?
Oh, wow. I wasn't ready for that question. Okay. So we're going to continue to create more and more Detroit Roots content. We're working on lots of different ways so that fans can share their story and tell us how they're rooting for the Tigers. We're also going to look to our players and get our players to tell the story of how they're rooting for our fans. You know, we kicked off the season with a special celebration honoring our frontline heroes. The players wore the I Root for Frontline Heroes shirts. We had frontline heroes announcing the starting lineup. And so fans can look forward to more and more ways for the Tigers to connect with our fans so we continue to root for each other. We'll root for them. They'll root for us. And I know one thing that's kind of cool is I'm having a lot of fun watching Tigers baseball these days, right? So I think one of the things that we hope to have is that we keep on playing the way we were playing and we keep having a good time. Because what we really want this summer is for Detroit Tigers baseball to be something that can cheer people up, make them happy, make them excited, and kind of give them an escape from all the challenging things that we're experiencing as a community.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ellen. You nailed that. All right. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining me on Catching Up with Carley, presented by Meijer. I really hope that I can see you soon at the ballpark. Until then, take care.
Thanks, Carley.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.